cut myself. Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. We're going to build something else today. Before we get into that, let's look at inspirational things. Check this out. This was a Secret Santa from my good friend Mr. Clark. And as you can see, having a handy gauntlet, having a gauntlet is the key to anything that's going to be successful. So today, I'm going to take them off. So today, we are going to be looking at building this. That's right. This. Boba Fett's Gauntlet. So we're going to look at building this. Probably not going to do the whole thing today, but we're going to certainly make a start on it. So, now we've seen a finished one, let's look at the kit. These are the components of the kit. Top and a bottom main shell. So this is the, I'll specify, just in case, like Clarky, you don't know Boba Fett well enough. This is the right gauntlet. Don't do the V's, that's nasty. Gauntlet shell, we've got the piece that goes on the side, which is basically to cover the joy, just mask where the two pieces go together. Piece that goes on the top. Another tube that goes on the bottom of the piece that covers the side. So there you go. So we've got those pieces that go on. Oh, and last but not least, the plumber's pieces, the piece on the top, and the little that goes in the just there. And I've not brought them out with me, but we have got some aluminium darts to put in there. Well, what I'm really focused on is all of that comes later. The first piece of the puzzle is getting these two halves joined together and united in one beautiful piece. So let's get down to that. If you're buying this as a kit, then you are going to notice that there are some lines already put on there which are suggested cutting lines. Just double check. If you're a big guy, you may need to ignore these and do your own thing. They are very faint, so they're not going to be a problem. I think all of this we're going to keep, we're just going to trim it down nice and flat. This side again, we're going to keep all of this, we're just going to cut this little excess off. On this side we have got a line just about here. Okay, you can't see it too good on the outside. You might be able to see it a little better on the inside. There's a line, it's faint to see, it is there. You can see it on the inside as well if you get it in the light, if you angle it correctly. But it's just a guide anyway. We're using this as a guide to trim the piece down to. Let's go. What we're going to use to trim it? Well, I'm going to start with Old Faithful. So it's probably going to come to you in this kind of a condition with this amount of trim that's already taken place. I mean, this fits me without too much problem. If you're smaller, then again it's probably going to fit you without too much problem. You could always go smaller if you really wanted to. I'd say just put some padding inside. And if you're quite a big guy, then you may want to size this up more bespokely to yourself. Dremel time. Speeding myself up. Now what I would say is, in the interest of this video and me demonstrating building these, I'm doing it with sandpaper and Dremel. Ordinarily I would be on the belt sander, and this is a 2-second job. Now, unlike building a stormtrooper, if you slip with the sandpaper up on the piece, less problematic because we're going to paint this before we finish. So there. However you do your sanding, That's what we're going to do here. Sand. Sand, sand, sand. Right, next thing. We need to join these two pieces together. Let's do that. Do the old snap and score. If you were with us when we built the Stormtrooper, you will know this is exactly the same as cutting the cover strip. And you probably remember that the cover strips on the arms were quite thin. And we're going to basically do the same here, but what I'm doing is I'm creating the cover strip which is going to go on the inside of the piece, not the outside. And I'm making a thin one because we're on a slight curve. You don't want it too fat. You could probably go fatter if you really wanted to, but there's no point, so don't go fatter than you need. Yeah, you just want it fat enough. And I think that's about fat enough. Remember, we're talking about technique here. We're not talking about sizes, but I'm going to tell you it's about 10 mil. I'm just going to use my super glue just for speed. What I would do is put this piece on, then we'll get the plastic weld on the go. But this just holds it in place, makes it a bit easier, less messing about. So I'm going to put it in place there, I'm going to glue it in, and I'm coming right to the front here, this front edge. I want this to cover right to it. If you're going to have a gap at the back, unless you cut it absolutely bang on, which again I'm not really that bothered about. I'll show you why later. So there we go, that's in place. Just hold that, glue tape shape. There we go. That's lovely. Right. There's a bit of a shape there, so this front edge doesn't always work because it's starting to curve in a little. You need to really hold that, make sure it's tucked. Right, I'm happy with that. Now, this piece is going to get attached to this piece, and then they are going to be permanently bonded, like so. Yeah? Okay. Before we do that, we're going to attach this, just because it's a shitload easier while this is a separate half than it would be when it's all bonded together. So, again, I've got the kit piece. I'm just going to offer it up to where I think it looks pretty good, which is there. I'm quite happy with that. So you will also see that there's 3 little drill holes already added into the back forming, and I'm going to use those. Right, I just want a nice 2 mil. There we go. Just a pre-drill. So there are 3 little marks there, which we suggest you use for attaching this piece. Now you could probably get away with just gluing this, but because in the final piece we're going to end up with this hose attached to it, and this is going to be attached to the suit, and there's some resistance in this. I'm not that keen on just depending on glue. So if I can get a mechanical fix, I'm always going to do. And in this case we can, so we will. So this is going to go on here, so it just runs with there. The bottom of it is already shaped to take the gauntlet. So what I'm going to do is just apply some glue on here. Oh, we put too much on actually. But it's all good. Shaped, put some where it needs to go. Hold that down. Okay, that's bonded. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill into it, and I'm going to drill at that angle. Let me try and do it cack-handed. So I'm going to drill at an angle, and then what I'm going to do here, just slightly the other way, just so we're sort of fighting each other. And now, when you're doing this, if you go all the way through the piece, it's not a big problem. However, don't drill into your fingers. Okay. Some of these nice little self-tappers. Get some washers. These parts should come with the kit. I've just not got it all prepared beforehand because I've got them to hand so readily. So we've got a washer on, we've got the screw in, just tighten it up. Depending on how far you've pre-drilled, it will denote how difficult it is to screw in. I'll be honest with you, most times I go straight through with my drill, come out the top, but for this video I'm trying to make it look a bit prettier. You just catch it with filler later anyway when we're on the next phase, so do not worry about it. If you want to go right in there, deep, do it. One last one. We've got this piece on good and firm. There we are, screwed in, we've bonded, we're screwed, we're fixed. That's going to support what we need it to. So now we can crack on with joining the two halves together. Dead simple. Just remember which side you join in. You don't want to glue it to the wrong side or apply your glue to the wrong side. So just a nice steady bead there. Now, when you may remember, I just very quickly dremeled these, and now I'm offering them up to each other. And the line's pretty good actually, it doesn't look too bad. If your line doesn't look as clean or as joined as well as this, I don't really need to worry about it, because we're going to cover this and we're going to apply a little filler where we need to, and it's really simple. By the time I get this magnet on, the glue will have gone off anyway, but well, let's get it on. Oh! Let's go in the fatter end. So this is where we're at. We've got this side kind of bonded together, and we've got this side open. This is how we're going to close the gauntlet later. Slightly off, but don't worry too much about that at this point. We've got a couple of things going on. We've got this preventing the front closing up, and we've got excess material. So I'm good. I'm quite pleased with that.